I'm absolutely shocked by this quarterback ranking, and it's not for the typical reasons of why I'm shocked. Typically, when I see quarterback rankings, it's guys like Steven Ruiz of The Ringer, keeping Brock Purdy in the late 20s for the entirety of the season, things like that. Normally, we're on this channel talking about, like, man, Brock Purdy's not getting enough respect. No one's giving Brock Purdy the rightful credit. He's a system quarterback. Kyle Shanahan, look at all the weapons, all these different types of things to justify why Brock Purdy isn't a top 10 quarterback, isn't a top 15 quarterback. Typically, that's what we're doing on this channel. We're talking about, like, man, how do we get Brock Purdy up the rankings? But this one, well, this one's a little bit different. According to this writer at CBS, they got Brock Purdy number 2 overall in the NFL. And I think this has obviously opened up a big debate and conversation, because it always does. Wherever Brock Purdy is ranked, it never seems to be the right spot. But again, this is the first time I've ever seen. This is the highest I've ever seen Brock Purdy ranked, and I want to get into it a little bit. I want to get in on this, and I'm the one of the biggest Brock Purdy guys around. Actually, even did a little bit of reminiscing today on Instagram, where I was posting some of the mic'd up stuff from when he entered the game against the Dolphins, and like the crazy story and trajectory of Brock's Purdy career since that moment, and just how completely taken away by his game I was, and doing the film breakdown and all of it. I just was completely blown away by how good Brock Purdy is. But I'm actually looking forward to having this conversation, because it's not typically one that we have. We're normally like, we got to get Brock up a little bit. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, Brock might be a little too high. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. I'm just saying, I'm like, number 2, that's pretty. I get it, man. Brock Purdy's been a dog ever since he came in against the Dolphins, but over guys like Allen, Burrow, Jackson, ooh. So I want to do it like this. Let's try to kind of reorganize this, and kind of how I would see the current top 10 with I think the players that are listed here, I think they're accurate. I just think there needs to be a little bit of a reshuffling. So obviously Patrick Mahomes at number 1. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm not quite ready to put Brock Purdy at number 2, but I think he's definitely belongs in the top 10. And I don't think he slips anywhere past 8 when we reorder this, but this is kind of how I'm looking at it as it stands right now today. I would have Patrick Mahomes 1, Josh Allen 2. I would probably put Lamar Jackson right now at 3. Then I would put Joe Burrow at 4. So Joe Burrow stays kind of in that realm right here. And this is where I think the debate gets interesting. This is where you start having the conversation about CJ Stroud, because although I do think Jordan Love is a good quarterback, I think 10 is well rated. Where Justin Herbert, we all know about the physical tools and traits that he has, which is why everyone loves him, but he just hasn't been able to put it together in the sense of actually pushing his team forward and winning playoff games and things like that. And so if we're going to have the conversation about guys like Tom Brady being the GOAT for winning Super Bowls, well, we're going to have the same conversation for guys like Justin Herbert, who can't get it done when it matters the most. So I'm going to go ahead and say Justin Herbert at 9. I think that's valid. So I kind of like Jordan Love at 10, Justin Herbert at 9. Dak Prescott right there at 8. I think you could make the case. You could drop Dak maybe down to 10. I don't know if that's 49ers bias, but you could honestly shuffle him in there, I think, in between Herbert and Love. He does produce very highly, but again, same conversation as Herbert. So I think they're all kind of in the same tier. Let's say that. And then you got Jalen Hurts. And I think Jalen Hurts deserves to be kind of in that 7 hole too. So the real debate for me is Brock Purdy or CJ Stroud. And, this is where we get into the debate of trying to compare Superman to Batman. This is how I like to quantify the Brock Purdy debate when we are trying to compare Brock Purdy to your Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen's, your Lamar Jacksons, these just physical specimens that play the quarterback position. And we know Brock Purdy isn't considered a physical specimen. He can play the quarterback position exceptionally well, regardless of not having those, tools and measurables. But that's where the conversation gets a little hard for people to digest because you're talking about two different styles of quarterback. You're talking about quarterbacks like Superman who have all the superpowers. They can throw the ball wherever, whenever, however, and do it. They can run, they can do it all, right? Superman. Then you got Brock. Brock is like Batman, maybe doesn't have like the physical superpowers, but boy, he's got that utility belt and he knows how to use it. He's got all the gadgets. He knows exactly what to do in every single moment. He has the right decisions all the time, and he's always going to find himself out in front because of that. So I think with this conversation between Brock Purdy and CJ Stroud, I think from a physical standpoint, I think you can make the case that CJ Stroud has better physical tools than Brock Purdy. I don't know, though, if I'm quite ready just yet to put CJ Stroud above Brock Purdy. I think, again, you can make the case, you can make the argument, especially based on a phenomenal rookie season by CJ Stroud. But man, Brock Purdy also had a phenomenal rookie season himself in the way that he was thrown into the fire, not getting all the games, all the preseason reps, all the practice reps, all of it. He just got thrown in, and he did a hell of a job. Came in, beat the Dolphins, dismantled Tom Brady's Bucks on a short week, goes to Seattle with a broken rib and beats Seattle to clinch the West. Like, he has done some phenomenal things in his career. And then especially what he did last year, leading the team all the way to the Super Bowl. So I think he deserves credit for that. So that's why I think right now I'm going to have Brock Purdy slotted in that 5 hole right above CJ Stroud. I think, again, you can make that argument. I think people will make that argument, and people will absolutely say, oh, well, look at CJ Stroud, dude, can do everything. So they're going to put CJ Stroud above Brock Purdy. But you know me, and if you've listened to anything that I've talked about, I'm a huge believer in quarterback intangibles. And I don't think when we have these conversations about quarterbacks, those are things that are discussed all that often or weighted properly. And I weight quarterback intangibles very, very high. And I know for a fact more so than most, because I truly believe if you don't have those intangibles, the ability to process, the ability to work, keep your eyes and stay on time in the pocket around pressure, be able to feel the subtle nuances of being able to sidestep pressure in the pocket while keeping your eyes downfield. Those are hard things to do that are through a processing lens. And that is where Brock has done a phenomenal job. His leadership through the roof. He has the intangible qualities. You can almost make the argument he has elite intangible qualities. And so because of that, right now, I'm going to have to put Brock at 5. Again, you can flip him with 6. I know, I guarantee this is where we're going to have some arguments in the chat, even with some 49er fans. But I'll probably have Brock right there at 5. And again, if we're going to recap my ranking, it would be Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts, and like I said, with Dak, Justin, and Jordan Love, they're kind of interchangeable. But I mean, I'm a Brock Purdy guy. I like Brock a lot. I just don't know if I like him at 2 just yet. Just yet. Some might have a problem with me putting him at 5, but I don't know if I'm ready for putting him at 2, just because of the other things that we've seen from these other players and what they're capable of. And they Lamar's an MVP, so, and he earned it. So I feel pretty comfortable about having Brock Purdy at 5. Some of you might not agree. Let me know in the comment what's your top 10. I'm actually really curious to see if you guys made it all the way through to the end of this video. Drop your top 10 in the comments below and tell me where you think Brock Purdy ranks amongst the top quarterbacks in the NFL. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.